So for a bit of context, Oddbox are a fruit and veg subscription box of a difference. We're completely supply driven, so nothing is grown for us. We rescue produce that for some reason doesn't have a home because it's the wrong size, shape, colour or class, or because too much or too little was grown. A third of all food grown goes to waste, and our mission is to fix that and to reduce associated carbon emissions. So for a bit of context for where we started out and why, we send out tens of thousands of boxes weekly, and given that it's fresh produce, sometimes issues happen. So we log complaints to get feedback on how we're doing, identify trending issues to respond quickly to, and to understand the performance of our third-party providers. This used to be done through a Google form, which then went through to Google Sheets and was manually compiled into Data Studio. This is just the first page of 5, which I won't show. Pretty long and basic form. Some of the issues our customer service reps had, there was limitations on the error checking in the context of error checking. There was duplicate entries logged by different team members. There was badly structured data, inaccurate complaints logged, lots of manual lookups to different systems. There's a lack of detail added by agents due to the time it took to log complaints. There was repeated data entry, and it was hard to find and change details later. There was also quite a big delay between complaint login and the team having insight. This was in the realm of days. And a lot of spot time was spent by agents logging complaints. This really needed fixing. So we got started, I think 5 months ago. I watched lightning demos actually, and that really inspired me to really delve into the documentation and understand what Retool could do. So I wrote a business case for funding for a freelancer for a 2-week proof of concept, and initially we identified the unknowns. So the bits that reading the documentation, I wasn't quite sure if Retool could handle, and we validated those as unknowns in the first week. So we just said about the trickiest interface design areas, made sure that Retool could handle them. We then continued to create the functioning MVP in the second week, and I dived into the coding myself along our freelancer. So I've got a development background, I haven't coded for a few years, and I wouldn't have just known where to start creating an app from scratch, but Retool just really empowered me and gave me the platform and the framework to get back into coding, which is great. So we then got funding to continue the project, and the Retool app was pretty ready to launch 1 month later. It took another month to go live because we had to create lots of dashboards in our data visualization tool, and a lot of internal discussion about the categorization, but the app part was pretty quick. So live demo time, fingers crossed. So this is our app, the happiness tracker. We've got a kind of a header and a details section. So to start off, the agent comes in, they put in the Zendesk ticket ID, so our complaints come into Zendesk. And this goes away and uses the API functionality to pull all the data in directly from Zendesk. We can go through here and just see the context of the thread that's been sent in, the complaint from the user. And we're then integrated with a second app called Podfather. This gives us a proof of delivery. So I can look up by my name, find all the deliveries, and all this is helping with data validation. So I can only log against the order that was actually received on a certain day. So I find my order. And again, this is saving a lot of manual work from the agents, just loading this data directly in. It might look quite simple, but there's actually quite a few different API calls. For example, we can only search by name. If we have customers with the same name, the agent would have to search and find the right one. This really just searches through, finds the right user, validates an email, and loads it all in. You can also see down here, we've actually taken out all the images that were in the thread and brought them directly out into Retool so we can choose relevant images to tag into the complaint. We've added things like status. So previously, an agent would log into a spreadsheet and there was no status to it. There was no workflow, but we've added the ability to send complaints off to other departments to go validate the data or to mark for follow up in due course. And then over here, I'll carry on logging the issue. So I'm going to be picky about my order and say that there's a quantity issue and that I say I had too little of my item. This is the kind of 5-tiered categorization system that we developed, but this really guides the agent through choosing one relevant category at a time rather than having a huge list to select from. And it gives some feedback so it can advise the agent the default position for this problem is not to credit, and other things that really just help the team to be aligned and be consistent, and to help new starters as well really know what to do and reduce the training requirements. Come down here and choose just broccoli. Just the type and interface is really great rather than having a huge list to scroll through. I can go down and tag my broccoli. I'm going to save. I've hopefully purposely left a field unfilled in. Yeah, didn't choose status. Close. I didn't choose a customer lifetime. Should now save. I should get a little pop of confetti showing that it's all saved okay. So normally an agent would have to go and add all this data in again. In fact, if I've got a second complaint, I can just go in here, click that I want to add a second complaint. It clears out, and I can just add in supplementary information. I don't have to go back through all the whole process and add that all in again. So huge time savings there. It's really easy to spin up further apps. So this is the bulk of the development, but probably in 1 hour, we just created a simple interface for agents to relocate tickets so they could go back to them to find them. If a customer says, no, I found my box, or actually I found the strawberries, they're under the melon, you can just go back to the record and delete it off. Then search is just looking for everything I've logged. I've only logged one thing. I can just go back in there, go back in and update. Also, another thing probably built on an hour was just the ability to have the rogues gallery of dodgy fruit and veg. So just do a search, our ops team can go in, look for all the problems of the day, look for problems of a certain produce, and just go and see what's going on, keep on the pulse, keep on the trend, see what the problems are that are coming through. And just to keep things neat and tidy, I'm going to go back and delete my complaints. I don't need a mess for customer happiness to sort out afterwards. And that's the demo, just to see the result of it. This all feeds through into our data stack, and we built a whole load of reporting out in Looker, our data visualization tool, so we can really get a fine-grained granularity of what all the complaints are, how we're doing on a day, breakdown of fruit and veg, and we've got a lot of different reports we send over to our third parties of how the delivery providers are doing, how the packers are doing, where the problems are. We look at this in pretty much real time to see if there's a trending issue to solve, but also report out weekly to our providers to see how they're performing against their KPIs. Where we are now, we're now at advanced data checking, no duplicates logged, well-structured data in a database, got accurate complaints being logged, all logged in one system. We've got a lot more actually complaints being logged because it's quicker for agents to take the time to log them properly. We've got no repeat data entry. It's easy to find and change later and have a workflow. The ops team has near real-time visibility. It enables quicker reactions in hours rather than days. And it's a huge saving of agents' time logging complaints. So the next steps for us are adding in-situ guidance, helping agents log correct contents, adding in photo guidance so we can see the photos of items previously logged to help, again, new agents identify the problems, and creating new apps for bulk adding and editing. We've also got a few completely new apps on the agenda to help us get data in usable shape. So the outcome for us really was the customer happiness team are happier, the operations team are more informed, third-party providers receive more timely and accurate feedback, and ultimately the customer experience has improved. And it's just been really enjoyable using Retool. So in closing, I'd really recommend just diving in and just trying Retool out and see where you can get to.